Explain two of the projects that you need to do during this semester. The first one is a live performance critique, and the second is a final project. So what I've done here in week one, I've got both of them introduced right here. There is nothing to turn in here in week one. This is just kind of my early heads up, let you know it's coming so you don't miss it in some way, or, I'd like you to really start thinking about it, or at least working on it, or at least thinking about it from the beginning. Otherwise, it might be a little difficult for you to get it done. So the first one is a live performance critique. So like I said, this is just the introduction to it, but where you're going to turn it in is here in week 5. So let me click on this really quick. So what you're going to do is you are going to attend a live performance of some kind. It can be any kind of musical concert. It could be a band concert, a choir concert, maybe that your kid is in. It could be a musical. It could be really any kind of concert. Any genre of music will be fine. It can even be a church service. If you have a live band at your church and you want to critique that, that's totally fine. Or maybe one of the free concerts that we have this summer on the town square, or on little local venues. You could be at a restaurant and there's a guy in the corner playing the guitar. You can critique him. That would be totally fine. If you have any doubt about what type of performance will constitute a performance that you could actually critique, just let me know, and or ask me, and I'll let you know if that's what would be acceptable. Two criteria, though, that I do want to mention is that it has to be within the time frame of this semester. Like if you went to a concert 2 weeks before the summer session started, that would not count. It has to be within the time frame of the semester. And then the other criteria is that you cannot be in the band or whatever. Like you can't critique your own performance. Okay. And then the other option, mainly this is because of COVID, and COVID's kind of slowing down right now, but also we could have another surge, or maybe sometimes people still don't feel very comfortable, which is totally understandable. So if you'd like to go the watch a video route, you can do that as well. You can pretty much pick any kind of concert and do the same thing. And I've had people ask, does that mean I can't pick a concert that was, like, say, from 2017? No, you can. It's just you have to watch it within the time frame of this class. Now, what I want you to do, you're going to have 3 parts to this. And for some reason, I turned that on. Whoops. Okay. So you have three parts to this. So this is the rubric, but it is also what you're going to turn in, and I'll kind of explain here in a minute. So in part 1, you are going to give me information about the performance itself. And then part 2, you're going to take one piece from the performance and critique it. And so you're going to you're going to answer the questions or fill in the information for each of these tables. And what I've got here on this rubric, these are videos that can kind of help you to answer and fill in the information. After watching those, I think you'll have everything you need to be able to answer the questions. And then for part 3 is just kind of your overall impression of the concert itself. Now, what I've got here, so there's 2 ways you can turn this in. You can copy and paste this table, which is the same exact thing as what's up here, except it doesn't have the videos. And like I said, want you just to fill in the table. You can do that, or you can here download a blank copy of the table right here and just fill in the information, then turn that in as well. Now, I do not want a narrative. I just want you to literally fill in the tables. Let me clear that right there. So that's the live performance critique. Now, the other big assignment that you have to do for this semester is the final project. So again, I give you an early heads up here. There's nothing to turn in here. This is just letting you know it's coming, and you can be thinking about it from the beginning. But you're going to turn it in week 5. So that's right here. So let me kind of explain what we're doing here. So what you're going to do is you're going to be making a PowerPoint presentation that's going to trace the development of Western music from the Middle Ages to the 20th century. You're going to include historical and or cultural events outside of music, works of art or literature outside of music, one piece for each time period, one composer from each time period, and one type of music from each time period that is typical of that time period. So this is the rubric for this. Sometimes people, they read this, but they don't scroll down here. And I've tried to tweak this every semester and tried to make this as clear as possible. But if you have any questions, as always, just email me, no problem. So the main things that I'm kind of looking for are obviously the number of slides. I want it to be about 20 to 30 slides. If you go more, that's fine. One thing that I will say, title slides do not count. If you just have one big slide that says Renaissance, that is not going to count in your slide count. Basically what I'm looking for is I'm looking for this to be instructive. If you had to explain to somebody, so what is music appreciation about? Like this presentation would just kind of be a brief overview of what we've done this semester. So it needs to be instructive. It needs to be creative. It needs to be something that would be interesting to look at. Think about a PowerPoint that you would find interesting in a class and instructive. So just create something that's like that. A big thing also, the citations are going to be at the very end. And really all I'm looking for are links. And what I want it to be is numbered, like if you had something that you posted on slide 5, say slide 5, and then put your link. Now, the historical events, I want you to have one historical or cultural event that is outside of music, and this is the part that people kind of mess up, and briefly described. Don't just make me a list or just say the Reformation, and that's it, and no explanation. I just want a brief explanation of whatever major event happened in that time period, just briefly described. And then also one major work of art or literature, again, briefly described. Like if you put in the Renaissance period the picture of Mona Lisa, which is fine, but with no description, no painter, nothing, then I will take points off for that. If you have a picture, it needs to have some kind of description with it. And then your musical example. So what you're going to do is you're going to pick one musical example per time period. What I like people to do is to post the video like in the PowerPoint, but a lot of times when I download it, like I can see that there's a video there, but it won't play. So also include the link as well. And again, it has to be briefly described. Don't just say, here's Moonlight Sonata in the classical period. Give me a brief description about it. Who wrote it? When was it written? Any other significant information about it. And then you also need to have one composer per time period. And this is what a lot of people neglect. Birthplace and at least 3 facts from the composer's life, and also the style of music for which the composer is most known. And then the last part, and for some reason, this is the part where people, I don't know, they just kind of forget about this, an important style feature. Like if you were going to give me an important style feature for the Renaissance, you would say maybe the madrigal, or for the Baroque period, opera. So whatever is something that was developing or significant in that time period, just tell me what it is and give me a brief description of it. And what I would say is try not to make this hard for me to find everything, because sometimes people, they'll have this mixed in with one of these other sections, and which is, it's okay, but just make it easy for me to find. And I think it's just easier to kind of keep it separate. So it's just easier to absorb as, like if you were the student viewing this, I think it would be easier for you to absorb the information as everything is kind of compartmentalized and separate. And I would also say, please keep this in chronological order too. So now, just so you kind of have an idea, this is an example of what I'm kind of looking for. So yes, we have a title slide. So what we have here in this first one, we have a description about an historical event in the Middle Ages. And then we have in the next one a piece of literature that was written in the Middle Ages with it briefly described. Then we have a musical example. We do have the video, we have the link, and we have a a description of the piece, a composer with some information about the composer that I was asking for, and also a type of music that was kind of big in that time period. And then the person just did the same thing in each time period. Just kind of follow the same format, and it just kind of makes it really easy to go through. And then at the very end here, you see what they did for their works cited. They have the slide number, and then they just put the link. That's all I'm looking for. I'm not looking for any kind of special MLA or whatever. Just give me the link. Just tell me where your sources are from. So that is the final project. This is your final. There is no final exam. This is your final. So if you actually finish this beforehand, before finals are due, turn it in, I'll grade it, boom, it's done. Now, one other thing that I want to say about both of these, okay, they are due the 28th. They are both due the 28th of June. I will not accept these late. These absolutely have to be turned in on the 28th, not the 29th, because I have to have them graded and turned in by the 30th. So for me to get everything done that I need to get done, it has to be turned in the 28th. And I think every time I've mentioned this, like in the syllabus or in the different assignments, I say every time, I will not accept it late. Now, one more thing I wanted to mention about this final project is if what I've got here in our activities, like at week 1, at the end of week one, I say complete the Middle Ages section of your project. And what I've got there is it's not due this week. There's nothing to turn in on this particular assignment. This is just to keep you on track. So hopefully by the end of the first week, you'll have all the information you need to do the Middle Ages section. And then in week 2, I say finish the Renaissance and Baroque section, and so on. So if you kind of just do it a little bit at a time, by the time it's due, it's just already done. So that is that. If you have any questions, just let me know.